opening up your space. Yeah, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. It's small, so just be mindful of everything. There's lots of art everywhere, so yeah. No moshing.
Fuck.
You know who you are. No moshing.
Fuck.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. In April this year, I put out a zine with my friend Charlie Hazel, For the Birds. And it was a community zine that we dedicated to a friend of mine, Ian Briscoe, who had passed away the summer before. And the zine really allowed me to deal with my grief in a way that was positive. A lot of the times I kind of felt like I was going crazy when we were making the zine, but it was good for me. I needed that. Yeah. This poem is titled Ruler of Birds. Ruler of birds. These days I can only ever see you in nightmares, in dreams, floating in a creek with your guitar downstream, or flying in the rain, or the shadow of a crow against dense fog. It is terrifying and more ethereal than anything I have seen. You visit me draped in jewels, a crown of twigs upon your head, thin layers of skin that hung loosely against your ribs, dark eyes, a head that spins. The ruler of birds, the watcher of sins. Thank you. This poem is also from For the Birds, entitled Number 7. I try to picture a life where we are not two lumbergyres picking at a carcass, sucking marrow out of cracked bones just to get through the day. I try to picture a life where I'm not gripping a steering wheel with hands too sweaty to drive, swallowing tears I cannot control, haunted by visions while the ghost of Judy Sill sings the kiss, passing through Singer while the trail of blossoming flowers reminds me of the girl I once was, sitting next to a lonesome fruit stand, the smell of peppers and tomatoes near, with warm bread disintegrating on her tongue, looking out at the endless rows of trees to discover your head with yellow skin and yellow teeth looking back at me, spinning, your eyes are bloodshot, your mouth parts, you scream, please, please, help me. I try to picture a life where your memory doesn't clutch me with its talons, carrying me upside down above an ocean with a powerful undertow, the waves quickly consuming me while you pierce my body, plunging deep. I find myself staring at the sky from beneath the water with no other choice. So I savor the salty water of the sea. Accepting my fate, I am the last of a dying species. Thank you. This poem is also about my friend Ian. I did not put it in For the Birds. It's a little explicit. But yeah. I once lived a cowboy. You used all the air in your lungs just to tell me you were okay. You wanted to believe it. I wanted to pretend with you, at least for the day. Big star fills the room, an acoustic heaven for me and you. You want to impress me, so you speak of the box tops and Alex Chilton. It is going to take more than rock and roll history to get my panties on your vintage rug. The sun moves quickly behind the blankets that you nail to the windows, a drastic measure to keep the reminders of the miracles of life hidden away. The crackling of fried pork chops serves as an interlude to your involuntary, excited speech. I figure this is the only way you know how to say I love you, besides 3 a.m. messages while your fiancé would sleep, rolling over at sunrise just to kiss your deceitful mouth and tell you about her dreams. Besides your whiskey-driven, guilty admittance, where you speak of the face you always see behind silk veils, closing your eyes and licking your lips, right before slipping your hand into your Wrangler jeans. When you lift your head from my shoulder, my shirt is left with your stain, classic greasy pomade, the ash of a pack of Marlboro Reds, and deep regret. You always hold me so tight, your guitar picks leave an indention in my chest, and my back breaks, and breaks, over again. Every time I see you, you have changed, ebbed and faded behind countless wrinkles from just this year. I am chilled to know what you have seen, the dirt roads you were dragged down, the grime embedded in your nails, the stacks of wrestling magazines blocking your doorways, an empty desk, the chemicals you hide in your closet, they all speak for you. I can only look away and remember you driving 90, grasping at the lyrics to the man in me, choking on laughter in between lines. Just to know that you are near, it sets my heart a-reeling, from my toes to my ears. The man in me will hide sometimes to keep from being seen. Thank you. The next set of poems I'm going to share are about family, and some are good, and some are bad. That's usually how it goes with family. None of my family's here, so we're good. This poem is about my abuelita. She lived in San Jose for a really long time, and she was a florist. And she is the best grandma ever. But during COVID, she wasn't able to find work, so she went back to Mexico. Her and my grandpa, they're both florists. And I haven't seen her since then, so it's been years, and I really miss her. And yeah, this one is called Abuelita's Flowers. Closing my eyes and letting the memory of floral aromas take me wherever I should be. I see my abuelita in the mirror with gold earrings and pink rollers in her hair. A mole that sits just below her nose, her singing, and the smile she would give me. I always thought that she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen, so how could I hate myself when so much of her is a part of me? We shared the same shade of skin, thick dark hair, round eyes, and a protruding bottom lip. Every visit with my dad's family left them with a gasp over how much I looked like my tia Angeles. I've never met her. Abuelita says she lives in Mexico City, and no one has been able to see her for years. She gives me a freshly detained rose after trimming a bouquet. She says I have her eyes. She says I have her nose. She holds me extra tight and says, "Te amo, mi cariña, chula bebé," like only she does. Flipping through books of flora, I see that I have the spotted navel of a common foxglove. The spots spread across my body like palladium leaves. I see that each of my hands carry 5 petals of calypso monkey mixed flowers. They are soft to the touch, they are sweet, they are just like me. I begin to practice, lying in the dark, feeling my own breath, feeling my own skin. I memorize how it has changed. I feel the scars of every place I have been. I want to release the shame that I carry in my hips, in my lower belly, and the creases of my back. The picture of the bouquet takes me where I need to go. My abuelita sends besitos from Mexico. I breathe in, my ancestors tell me to let it go. This next poem is called Sacrificial Lambs. It's about breaking cycles of trauma. It's about, trigger warning, it's about just generational abuse going on in the family, and women in the family protecting men who were abusing people. Sacrificial lambs. I do not come from a line of strong women. I come from a long line of sacrificial lambs. They don't know me, I don't know them. I see their faces curl when I don't try to be pretty. Their mouths would twist like pumpkin stems when I would stick my hands in the mud. Splashing, playing, finding joy in the earth, barefoot and in love for the moment. I don't understand. How could they see me behind a cower, breaking a sweat, from spending years curled up in a ball, crouching on the floor, hiding, afraid to say no, afraid to be alone. As the years have passed, I resist their traditions. I'm dissecting myself to remove the ties. You will not find Aunt Donna, Shauna, or Renata in these veins. You will not find their daughters Mary, Letitia, or Crystal in the particles of my blue blood. Along the marks that trace my round eyes, there are inch-deep scars. In the tissue you will find their husbands, boyfriends, and sons, and the luxurious red carpets they leave unrolled for them. Their names will never leave my lips again. Here I am, elbows in the mud, my hands blindly swimming through the thick mush, feeling for those roots, doing my best to exterminate them before they are overgrown, before they reach my beautiful sisters and my precious daughter. Planning something new every day, I drop a seed on my tongue. Admittedly, in uncertain times, I struggle to swallow them. Praying that those seeds find their place, hoping to see green sprouts coming out of my chest each morning, blossoms in the spring, frozen in time during in the winter. I am beating down the gates to set the lambs free. May they graze openly and enjoy the fruits of my labor. Thank you. This next poem, it was in the last scene that I put out, my fem diary. And that was also a collaborative community scene, and I had 23 artists, not including myself, who sent something in, and I had an event recently and it went really well, and people brought in art. We had a gallery and all the artists got to speak, and it was a really beautiful moment. And yeah, this poem is from my fem diary, but it's also about family. It's called You'll Be a Woman Soon. You'll be a woman soon. Two sisters sit at a pastel table, laughing sound waves into the still unfamiliar silence of girls' yellow dining room. The hearty laugh of a survivor set free by the hands of a clock and copious amounts of high blush placement. Interrupted by two flies bucking and their mother asking for a favor, and fire set to the bushes where they played hide and seek. Thank you. This poem is also from my fem diary. It's titled Howling Woman. It's about my experience as someone who was born a woman and perceived as femme on and off. It just depends on who's judging me. Figuring out motherhood in the process, and at the end of it, just knowing that no matter what, I am the person that I am, and I have the earth and I have nature, and that's what I connect with the most, more than identifying as femme or masculine, man, or woman. Howling woman. During all hours, I take form as a scorned woman, howling at the sun with handfuls of weeds where a fruitful garden should be. Raisins for eyes, crinkling lines that emphasize my cries. When the sun sets, I hear the echoes of another, a chorus of mothers, secret lovers, and forgotten daughters. Ease comes at the end of exhaustion, resting at the base of a tree that was meant for me. Tears and mud making a blanket of clay until I become herbaceous mountains. Yellow hills and pools for the babes to play. The gray lines that mark the start of a new day almost glisten against the piercing cold of dawn. Tucking me in, kissing my forehead, birds and insects sing lullabies, saying they love me like no other, reminding me to come back home. Thank you. This next poem is titled Duality of Man. I turned it into a little mini scene with visuals to go along with the poem. A lot of the art that I make is based off of poetry that I've written, and I try to create something visual to get across the message of the poem. I think it's just what works for me, and I know it works for a lot of people. Sometimes people don't resonate with the poem, but they see the art and they're like, oh, like, now I get it, now I understand. I brought a couple copies. Everything on the table there is free to take with you guys. There's a bunch of random little things there that I made. Duality of man. I have seen it in myself, the visual of my morphing face with an ever-growing sinister grin, clicking and switching, constantly changing every time I would begin to blink. Blink, evil. Blink, smile. Blink, unrecognizable. Blink, sinister. Blink, nefarious. Until my face became something else entirely. There was a man in the mirror insisting that I am safe with him to let it all out, but I knew better. Patches of grass decorated the scattered yellow flowers perfectly pieced together by God and no one else, greeting me as I made my way to watch the sky crystallize in the middle of vast lake. Glass ceiling shattered while I let my body float. I let the shards fall into my eyes. I didn't flinch. I accepted my fate. The water placed feathers in my dark hair, forming a nest upon my head, a wild woman in her natural habitat. I began to dig into the earth where it met the sand. I found worms and insects. I became the intersection of their homes. I watched them continue their journeys, digging around my spotted hands with intent, with an insatiable hunger. I whispered to the buds, pointing my mud-encrusted finger. Would you help me? I would like to be buried under that large rock. You see, I am afraid I have seen too much. You are the breeze and the birds and the bees, all singing their ageless songs. And every single half of a dog's corpse along the 41, pieced back together in the bottom of a dumpster. You are the duality of man that I can no longer face. I fear you as much as I fear myself. Thank you. I have a couple of poems to read that are political in nature. Some of them are specifically about Fresno. How many of you guys live here in Fresno? Everybody? Okay, so they're pretty self-explanatory. It's just things that I see every day. And I'm sure you guys see them too, and so I think we all hold some responsibility as people who live here to talk about it, address it, and I think that's where change starts, having a conversation. This poem is titled Fulton Street. I see myself all over Fulton Street. Kids running with bags of chicharrones dangling in one hand, chile on the corners of their mouths staining their fingers. Mothers dancing to Zapp and Roger with their babies on their hips. I see myself all over Fulton Street. People with their hearts on their tables in the form of canvases, paper, and anything else they can get their hands on. Lining block after block, table to table, they connect and intersect. Becoming friends, becoming allies for one another, sharing their messages, speaking their truth. I see myself all over Fulton Street, crowds swaying, bouncing, together becoming an ocean. I find myself in the middle of the waves. After a mile, I am greeted by cumbias, hip-hop, jazz, oldies, and house music. I call it the Fulton heartbeat. I see myself all over Fulton Street, and the teenagers digging in crates of records, asking the middle-aged woman about Curtis Mayfield, giving her their last $20 bill, discovering Superfly for the first time with a twinkle in their eyes, dancing around the water fountains I once threw nickels and pennies in. I even see myself in the folks who are just trying to sleep, the folks who are just trying to get something to eat, the folks who just need a friend. I've been there, and in the blink of an eye, I could be there again. I see myself all over Fulton Street, wild and untamed, alive with love, inspired by passion, on the brink of never being this way again. Thank you. This next poem is titled Trail of Violations. It is very specifically about the unhoused people that are here in Fresno. It's a big problem, and we have a lot of resources here, so I feel like it's something that we could be doing more about, and we aren't. And this is just my perspective on the situation. Trail of Violations. A garbage truck full of all these people had left to their name passed me by. Garbage, insulin, documents, shelter, taken to a site to pile up, to hide the evidence of their crimes, tucking away crumbs of their existence at any cost to taxpayers, while cops rode away on pathetic bikes with plump rubber tires, provided by a budget without a magnifying glass. Their treads creating a trail, tracing Weber, chasing Olive, facing Fulton, down Abbey, and a right on Belmont. They roll, and they are aghast to see how rocky our streets are. They know every inch of asphalt to steer clear of to avoid making it any more unpleasant. The trail to accessible violations, emptying their notepads, fulfilling their purpose. All at once, the sun begins to disappear. Muscle memory reverses their pedals. They go back to where they came from, back to the north side of town. I wonder if the setting sun just barely over the historical buildings of downtown and orange clouds over my local carnicerias charms the boys in blue the way that it charms me. Just enough to find a reason to keep moving, a gracious gift free of charge. When it is dark, we throw glass in the streets, garbage in the gutters, add new colors on concrete walls, bridges, and billboards in an effort to slow them down the next day. Keep the bulldozers and cranes in the parking lots, leaving money in the pockets of gentrifiers to accumulate, while councilmen devise new schemes to erase us. The trail of violations is the foundation of our archaic game of chess between the common people like you and I, the people who sleep on soiled concrete, the lines separating us barely visible, rivaling the systems and the men who upkeep them. I spectate, I play the game. I take note of the modernistic yet uncreative forms of attack and defense. I wonder how many times they can rephrase terms using technical language as a band-aid for age-old tricks. I wonder if this is the true culture of Fresno, where my legs, heart, and mind are forever bound, or if it is all the small things that we do together to numb, heal, and rebuild. Thank you. This is going to be my last original. It's titled Roots. Roots. I am relieved to see systems that fail their people break. Do not be afraid to start new. Revel in the dance of a new day. With love and soil, you can begin to take back everything that was stolen from you, your mother, your grandmother, and those that came before her. Your ancestry hangs strong over your spirit after a long day in the modern world. One they couldn't imagine, one that you struggled to escape. They whisper to you in the passing warm winds, offering you strength, their resilience passed down to you. While we yearn for hills and patches of green, a place to call home, I remind you, with love and soil, you can begin to take it all back. Poems from other local poets who they really inspire me, and they have all in some way or another helped me in my journey of being a poet. I've been writing poetry for a long time, but I kind of just recently started sharing it. I think a lot of poets have this mindset where they're not real poets for whatever reason. It's just something that's inside your head. But interacting with these other local poets and hearing them read their poetry and getting to know them and seeing how diverse the community is here and how you don't need to have a degree to write poetry. You don't need to come from any certain background.
Thank you, Dad.
The first one I'm going to read is titled Pressure Makes Diamonds. It's by Megan M. She's a poet and a local artist. She has a studio in Broadway Studios. She's all over the Central Valley doing a little bit of everything. She's a jack of all trades. But I asked her to send me a poem that I could share, and this is one she sent, and it's my favorite of hers. Pressure Makes Diamonds. Has anyone told you lately you're beautiful? Lack of recognition for your accomplishments is inexcusable. Giving so much, you take from yourself. I see the pain in your eyes. You're not asking for help, feeling crushed by the weight of the world. Relax your shoulders. Let the knots in your stomach curl. Intrusive thoughts will enter. Negativity, doubt, and bitter words. Do you want to know something I heard? Pressure makes diamonds. Years you've had to suffer to magically manifest treasure. Pricking your finger for the pain that helps you appreciate pleasure. You could place them in a ring and wear them proudly. In a room of opportunities, I would say your name loudly. Thriving and surviving in a world so cruel, I want to see your heart full. Has anyone told you lately that you're beautiful? It's a totally different experience, at least in my opinion, when different people read the same poem. And I'm just glad to share it with you guys. But when Megan reads it, it's like she's speaking to everyone directly. The next one that I'm going to share is titled Child's Play by Matt Robles. Matt, what could I say about you, Matt?
We'll talk about him.
Okay, that was really me asking permission. What can I say about you, Matt?
Whatever you want. Just don't lie.
Matt, his poems they're heavy, they're very deep. Every single one that he writes, I've never heard him read a poem that didn't make me feel like I was just crushed. And it's a talent. Not everyone can do that. It's, in my opinion, very individualistic. And if you hear a poem and it's Matt's, and you didn't know necessarily that it was Matt's at first, you know, oh, Matt wrote this, you can feel it. Not that they are similar, it's just the feeling of it.
Thank you.
Child's Play. Go brush your teeth at home, he continued to whine demandingly from his bicycle. No. A short, smug reply from the jungle gym. You have to. Go. Go. No. Slightly louder and a little more proudly this time. A mumbled mass of frantic words followed, with only some making it out through the chaos into the discernible world. Tell Mom. Trouble. Bathroom. Forgot this morning. The reluctant boy was unfazed, running further and higher to the jumble of colorful bars, bridges, and barriers. The bicycle whipped around in the wet dirt, riding off across the parking lot. At this point, I was immersed in the various stories and happenings unfolding across the playground, some intertwined at times, others completely oblivious to each other. It reminded me of an aquarium, a sort of ecosystem. The one on the bicycle rushed back in and continued, not fully pronouncing his R's. You might want to go home or it's going to get worse. I couldn't make out the other kids' replies, only shouts fading from two wheels. Yes, it is! Yes, it is! As the bicycle whipped around for the last time across the parking lot. A few minutes later, the father approached with a tone all too familiar to the stubborn boy. For a brief moment, the ecosystem broke. The fourth wall came down and clearly would not be fixed until the boy returned home to brush his teeth, which he did, and the wall quickly went back up. And the ecosystem returned to mostly normal, and the stories wrote more chapters, and the happenings continue to unfold. Proof that poetry is already written and simply waiting to be told. Thank you. This next poem is by Norla Henderson. She is someone that I met through open mics, and she is someone that I wouldn't necessarily expect to have become friends with, like if I see her somewhere randomly on the street. But she writes poetry, she writes short stories, she writes everything. She's a very talented person in general. She has many talents, and she was very kind to me. I've always been shy, and so I would go to these events and I would see her, and I would be like, maybe I should go talk to her. And so I told her, can I sit next to you? And she invited me to sit with her, and instantly we just clicked, and we've been friends ever since. And I think it's one of those examples of how poetry, literature, writing, diving into yourself and trying to make sense of everything that's always happening around us in this creative way. You can meet a lot of different people that you wouldn't have expected to be friends with. This poem is titled, Corvids Are Thieves of Shiny Things. You drop this, caroled the magpie, carrying your earring to the window. You drop this, mocked the jay, a slender bracelet in its beak. You drop this, heard the raven, walking out with your wedding ring. Your shiny objects dropped, in flagrante delicto, like your promises and oaths appear to be for the birds. Thank you. The last one that I'm going to share is by Charlie Hazel, aka Ruben Mejia. It is from For the Birds. It's the second page. It has a lot of visuals to go along with each line. It's very beautiful. The first time that he read this, it goes everywhere. You get all kinds of different settings, you get all kinds of different emotions. And I tried to wrap my head around it, but in the time frame that he read it, I was like, slow down, because like I need to process this. And I asked him to send me the poem so that I could really look into it. And he said he was never going to read it again. He was just going to read it the one time. And I was like, you can't do that. Like, people need to hear this. It's too good of a poem to only read one time. Bluebird, I caught a glimpse of you, driving through the grapevine at the crux of the night. On the road to nowhere, making something out of nothing with the poison between our lips. Angels flying by at full throttle with little to no sign of stopping. Wings stitched to their leathered backs without reserve or a damn to give. Revving their motors, howling at the moon, but I couldn't stop staring at you. Ground zero of Los Alamos, I held my breath. Eyes wide shut when the bomb dropped, awaiting desolation at the hands of God. But lost it when you rested your head on my shoulder and said, this movie is so fucking good. In arm's reach of a giant who told stories of his past and his treasures. Earned, not bought. Pancho Villa's trigger finger, the same finger that led a revolution. Born to die, living to fight for a different Mexico. Not the Mexico that slit your dad's throat and sunk him in gravel. A double-headed newborn, owned once by Ronald McDonald himself, and a toaster possessed by the devil. When asked why he'd had it and why it was still around, George said, "You know, at the end of the day, Charlie, it makes good toast. Sometimes I go back to those recordings just to hear your laugh. In fields of strawberries swarmed by the bees, you had a basket for the best of the best. If I think hard enough, I can see the colors of your dress and the way you smiled and crowned queen of the berries. From the snowy sidewalks of Boise, Idaho, to Ferris wheels over Fresno, California, locked hands on the streets of Little Italy, romanticizing suicide on the search for the purity of eucalyptus. Ice rinks on each corner of the city, and a hole where my favorite tree used to be. Did I wait too long? Did I wait too long? Did I wait too long? Did I wait too long?" I didn't listen, even when he said, "This isn't going to end well." I didn't listen. But I don't know what's harder, letting go or just being okay with it. I'm bad with words and even worse with love. A quarter tucked into the sleeve of my passport in case you called and asked if I'm ready to run away. We made it before daybreak and exchanged one last goodbye. "You might never see me again," she said, but I wasn't hurt. I knew this ending. I know it well. But this just might be better for us, you know? Thank you. That's all I have to share with you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for being here, for listening, and yeah, there's still more things if you haven't grabbed something. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.